Good morning. I see new faces and old faces. It's so nice for us all to be together here this morning at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tucson. Today is March 23rd, 2025. And I'm Watercolor Golightly, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Watching people come in the door fills my heart, knowing that we're getting more and more people in these seats, because soon our snowbirds will be departing. So just a moment of gratitude that you're all here today. Our community strives to be as varied as the blossoms of the Sonoran Desert. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you've been, we welcome you. Whoever you are becoming, we welcome you. We welcome you now. We invite you in to bring your whole self here in this time with us. At the start of the pandemic, we agreed that we were a congregation of science, and that led to commitment to being vaccinated to protect the most vulnerable. We ask that everyone keep that up so we can protect the members of our congregation. We ask that if you feel more comfortable to wear a mask, that's okay, and we accept that. We ask that if you're not feeling well, that you join us. Hi, people at home. At home, because we have this crack AV team that makes that possible. Thanks, guys. There are gender-specific bathrooms over there. There is a wheelchair-accessible, gender-non-specific bathroom back there. As we worship today, let us always remain mindful. Mindful of the desert people that came before us to this place. Their land was stolen in successive acts of displacement and genocide. As we meet in this place, let us honor them in their names. The Ohodam, the Yaqui, the Apache, and all those that came before that names have not been written down for, that some call the Hohokam. All the indigenous folks whose names that are not known, let us honor them. As we move more deeply into a sacred place of worship, please remember that you are indeed welcome here. Whether you walked in, rolled in, skipped in, jumped in, slid in, however you managed to make it to your seat, you're welcome. Wherever you are in your spiritual journey, whatever cultural or ethnic background you claim, whomever you love, however you identify your gender in whatever way that you choose, you are truly welcome here.
Good morning. If you and I haven't met, my name is Reverend Bethany Russell Lowe, and I have the great pleasure and honor of serving this congregation. Glad to see such a full house. I'm going to start this morning with a story adapted from Dawn Star Sarah's Borschelt called When You Have More Than Enough. It starts as most stories do, many good stories do. Once upon a time, there was a family. Maybe this family had not quite enough to eat, or maybe they had just about enough to eat, or perhaps they had more than enough. You might not have been able to tell. They might not have been able to tell. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you have enough or not. It's hard not to want more or different things than you have. In any case, this family came together one day for a celebration, a feast, a time of gratitude. They gathered, as we have done, around a table, and there was food, and there was drink, and there were flowers to remind them of beauty. And then there was this call from beyond the garden gate. "Hello, we're hungry and thirsty, and we see you are having a feast. May we come in?" Well, the family didn't know how to answer at first. Who were these people at the gate? Was it safe to let these people in? Did they have enough to share? Was there room? But they remembered. They remembered that most of them had come to this family, to this celebration from someplace else. They remembered that even they who were at that table had not always been kind to each other. There had been times when they hurt each other. There were still times when they made each other sad or angry or afraid. There is no way to make life completely safe. They remembered times when others had shared with them, even when the others might not have quite enough of their own. They remembered when each new member of the family had been born or come to stay or married in. They remembered that they had always found a way to make room. And they remembered an old saying: when you have more than you need, it is better to build a longer table than a higher fence. We have enough, they said. We might have more than enough. We are many and strong, and we can hold a safe space here in our home for all who come. And so they went out their door to the garden gate and opened it. They invited the people who were there inside. They pulled out another table and made space for the newcomers. They covered it in cloth, and the newcomers set upon it dishfuls of something fragrant and delicious, which was strange and wonderful to this family. And everybody shared, and there was enough. Come, let us join in worship together.
Please join me in saying our words of chalice lighting. They come from Katie Savani Gelfand. Waiting for them to appear. Two more slides. Here we are, yay! We light our chalice as a symbol of gratitude, as we celebrate the abundance of our lives together. In this sanctuary, we harvest bushels of strength for one another and offer our crop with the hands of compassion and generosity. In the authentic and gentle manner of our connections, we cultivate a simple sweetness to brighten our spirits. May we be grateful for the ways we nourish and uplift each other, for it is sharing of this hallowed time together that sustains us.
Would you please rise as you are able and respond in song? From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Simple refrain. As you catch it, join me. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this, and one last time, a little softer. From you I receive, to you I give. Together
So it started last week, but there's a change. Did you notice that our table is now rectangular, jutting out? Right there is the bowl where we share our shared joys and sorrows. We pour water from a jug like the ones left by No More Death, decorated by our children, so it is marked as safe to drink. In our bowl where we share our joys and sorrows. Share is the idea here. We put it in a communal space. And so we've done it this way so folks can come down both sides. And if you choose to look across and have a moment as you choose the rock to put in to symbolize your joys and sorrows, you can have a moment meeting across the table and return to your chair. So we're trying it a little different. Let us know what you think. Our earth is strong. It can hold our pain, our joy, our love, and our anger. As people who live in the desert, we recognize that the water is sustaining, and that's why we use that jug. For those of you joining us online, you can go to menti.com and enter the code 6583-4780, which is up on the screen, if you want your joy or sorrow read. And if you're in here and you want some help with that, Brian Moon is right there to assist you. And now I invite you to create 2 lines and come and choose a rock. The big ones symbolize our collective hopes and joys and sorrows, and the little ones you put in are for yours. On a personal note, I didn't make it to the Bernie AOC rally this weekend. On the way to work, I drove through it. My neighborhood, there was no parking. It was 2 hours before it started. It filled me with joy to see so many people getting together with a common goal and a common hope. So that's mine for today.
feel like we came in holding a lot this morning. So if you're needing some deep breaths, I'll encourage you to take some. As I read our mentee responses, one of our friends is really grateful for America. God bless America. Having acquaintances from South Africa visiting this week to hike the AZT who are worrying about our current politics might impact their visit to our desert, hoping they have a good and safe journey. Traveling mercies to you and your friends. We reconciled our differences again this week, and we did last week, as I know we'll do next week. I am a very proud mother. Proud of you, with you, friend. We pray our daughter is on a new and better path. We join you in those prayers. A joy to be back in the sanctuary now that my broken patella has healed and I'm driving again. Woo-hoo! Welcome back, friend. It was thrilling and inspiring to be among the thousands of people who attended the AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Tucson yesterday. Because of the hope, not necessarily a political party, right? Because we are a 501c3. In our community care corner this week, Becky Keyes wanted me to let you know that the flowers were given today in honor of her brother, Gareth, who died rather suddenly a few weeks ago. We send our love and support to Becky and Bill, Blair, and Evan, their kids, their adult kids, and everyone who loved Gareth, holding them in love and prayer. Our words for prayer this morning come from Marge Piercy, and when I say prayer, I invite your body to get in that spirit, that posture of meditation, contemplation, prayer, whatever it is your body needs this morning, including if your body needs to tune my voice out, all right? So take these next few minutes and do what your body needs. If you are needing some words, here is the Seven of Pentacles by Marge Piercy. Under a sky the color of pea soup, she is looking at her work growing away there, actively, thickly like grapevines or pole beans, as things grow in the real world, slowly enough. If you tend them properly, if you mulch, if you water, if you provide birds that eat insects a home and winter food, if the sun shines and you pick off caterpillars, if the praying mantis comes and the ladybugs and the bees, then the plants flourish, but at their own internal clock. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot always tell by looking what is happening. More than half the tree is spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns the garden. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Weave real connections. Create real nodes. Build real houses. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving. Keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in, a thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us, interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and layers. Live as if you liked yourself, and it might happen. Reach out. Keep reaching out. Keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time. Not always. For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes. May we make it so. May we live long and fight persistently.
This next song has words that are over 150 years old, And I've asked them to be placed on the screen, but please read along and let me sing it to you. Once to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide in the strife of truth with falsehood for the good or evil side. Then to stand with truth is noble when we share its wretched crust. Ere that cause bring fame and profit, and 'tis prosperous to be just. Though the cause of evil prosper, yet 'tis truth alone is strong, though its portions be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong. Then it is the brave one chooses, while the coward stands aside, till the multitude make virtue of the faith they have decried.
The kind of words you got to sit with for a little bit, yeah? Our sermon today is going to be a video from Reverend Sarah Green, who was with us in a workshop yesterday here at UUCT for the Baja Four, which is our collaborative relationship with the 4 Unitarian Universalist congregations in southern Arizona. Reverend Sarah Green is coming to us as a consultant with Stewardship for Us, a UU-aligned finance and fundraising visioning organization. And she's also a Unitarian Universalist minister. So we're going to hear her words today, and she's preaching the same sermon to the Baja Four. So she's coming to us from our space yesterday. And yes, it is in TikTok
Good morning,
mode for those of us on
everybody.
TikTok
I'm
rather
Reverend Sarah
than
Green,
landscape.
and I have the pleasure
Enjoy.
of sharing some thoughts with you this morning. I'd like to start with a parable. This is the Message translation of Matthew 13. It goes like this. At about the same time, Jesus left the house and sat on the beach. In no time at all, a crowd gathered along the shoreline, forcing him to get into a boat. Using the boat as his pulpit, he addressed his congregation, telling stories. What do you make of this one? A farmer planted seed. As he scattered the seed, some of it fell on the road, and the birds ate it. Some fell on the gravel. It sprouted quickly, but didn't put down roots. So when the sun came up, it withered just as quickly. Some fell in the weeds. As it came up, it was strangled by the weeds. And some fell on good earth and produced a harvest beyond his wildest dreams. That's the parable of the sower. Jesus talks about this good earth or good soil as something that just is. That this farmer sort of just happened upon this good soil. But if you have any experience with soil at all, or growing something, or tending to soil, you know that good soil is created. It's stewarded, it's poured into, it's nurtured, it's managed, it's crafted. The good thing is that people are making good soil all around us. If you haven't caught on, I'm talking about good soil as the thing that we are building here in these congregations, that we are stewarding. We are making good soil or practicing stewardship everywhere. I'm a part of an organization called Alternate Roots. It's a Southern-based arts and justice organization, and they are having their board meeting right now. I'm on their board, and as a warm-up question, I asked them recently, what is stewardship? And we as UUs, we kind of toss that word around, so I was in part curious to see what they thought of without all of the hoopla around this word that we as church folks hear regularly all the time. Roots says that stewardship, or making good soil, is about being values-led. It's about bravery and courage. They said it was about time management, that it was about thoughtfulness and consideration. One person noted that stewardship was about trust. One person said that it was not doing as much for the sake of community, that this idea that, well, we could be using Miracle-Gro and growing so much food, but that growing food that fed our community well meant slow stewardship, meant organic stewardship. We had a workshop yesterday talking about stewardship, and one of the things that I heard was that stewardship is about tending to our living tradition. And one of the ways we do that is through interdependence. We sort of clarified that interdependence is a little different than interconnectedness. But interdependence meant that there was something at stake. People were depending on us. That is part of stewardship. I have the privilege of stewarding some land in Tennessee. The little parcel was carved out from a cattle farm, a couple generations in. They breed cattle, and if you know anything about cattle or beef, it's very hard on the land. It's very extractive, takes a lot of water to grow beef. They don't really put a lot of nitrogen or good things back in the soil. And so when I arrived at this land, the soil was maybe closer to the rocky soil or the dry soil or the weedy soil. It just wasn't what Jesus calls good earth. Not anything it did wrong, but because of what had been done to it. I've been on that land for about 6 years now. And for me, stewardship of that, what I learned about stewardship from that place is that stewardship is cyclical, that time is expansive, that there are seasons to it, and those seasons include rest. Now that the land has rested, there's so much amazing things that are able to grow. Have you heard of shisho? It's this amazing, astringent, but potent green. I came across it in Vietnam, but it's abundant. The daffodils are flourishing. The dead nettle, which you can also eat, is everywhere. The pine trees are flourishing. Things are more possible because of the way that I have stewarded the land in rest. But why now is one of the questions that we entertained yesterday in our workshop together. And there are a couple of anchors that I have and carry with me, but the one that sticks out for me today is what we, in the South, Southern movement people have been calling the Mandate by Mary Hooks, an incredible movement leader and elder, I would say. The mandate at this time, and she's speaking specifically to Black people, I think there's wisdom for everyone. She says the mandate at this time is to avenge the suffering of our ancestors, to earn the respect of future generations, and to be willing to be transformed in service of the work. In other words, I hear Mary Hook saying to us, this is the time to put our money where our mouth is. If your congregation hasn't talked about risk in this moment, now is the time. If your congregation hasn't talked about reparations, now is the time. If it hasn't talked about what safety is and who it's for, who's afforded it, how we create it, now is the time to be willing to be transformed in the soil of the work. I will spare you the other sermon about how we are soil and how tending to our spirit is also part of stewardship, part of why we gather Sundays and throughout the week. There are many layers of good earth being tended to, being created, being stewarded. One of the other things that I'm clear about, to refer back to that parable, is that in the parable, the seeds are good news. He's thinking about the gospel, but really the gospel is just that. It's the good news. And I think that the Jesus that I hear in that parable and that I know, we actually share good news. We're talking about the same good news. In these times, such as these, the good news are the mutual aid networks that I'm seeing pop up, that are tending to children, that are feeding people, that are throwing rent parties, that are providing sanctuary, that are having safe places for all sorts of people. The good news is that people are refusing to comply in advance. The good news is that people are starting to know and build relationships with their neighbors. The good news is that when a storm pops up in my neck of the woods in New Orleans, we have movement, we have grassroots infrastructure that helps people cool down, charge their phones, access their medicine. The good news is cis people sharing hormone therapies and their prescriptions with trans siblings. The good news looks like eviction defense and organizing with our family members. The good news is news of people providing emergency housing. There's so much good news. There are so many things to celebrate. As we are stewards of this good earth, the question is this: will those seeds grow here? Will they have a soft place to land when they come through our doors? Will they be nurtured here? When someone has an idea that just seems so out of the ordinary, so advantageous, so audacious, will those seeds grow here? When someone brings in a way that their community has resisted oppressive regimes before, will those seeds have a soft place to land? Will new ideas have a soft place to land? Will disagreements have a soft place to land? Will imagination have a soft place to land and be nurtured here on this good earth? The theme for General Assembly this year is meeting the moment. What a rich theme. To be honest, sometimes I come out with these themes and I feel like, okay, well, that's great, But I really feel deep gratitude for this theme and how I've even seen it work our way into our movements leading up to General Assembly, which is kind of rare. So I'm grateful for that gift from the planning team. Meeting the moment looks like being a community where seeds of justice can thrive, where there is bravery and courage, where there's a sense of time that's expansive and multidimensional, where we are studying and in service of old and ancient and new and emerging technologies all at once. Meeting the moment looks like being a community where seeds of justice can thrive, where our stories keep us encouraged, and there are resources to support it. Verify and line up and are in integrity with our whys, why we're here. Looking for resources to nurture our ideas, to nurture our vision of beloved community. For a governance structure that nurtures our deepest desires of being together, of belonging, of justice, of beloved community. It takes time to create good soil. And I believe we've already started, but it's not a one and done. Let's keep ourselves at the ready, collecting data about what new amendments we need, paying attention about when the season is about rest, staying clear and focused on our why. What kind of things will we grow? What kind of things will grow on this good earth? I like to be in study of churches that are growing really good things. I go and I sit there in service and I participate in their community and I ask a lot of why questions. One of those communities is First Grace. It's a Methodist church in New Orleans. And, I am in such mystery of how they do what they do. Every once in a while, I get a little clue of how they made this good earth. Pastor Sean is the minister there. And for a season, you would just hear him repeat this phrase from this gospel song by Paul Morton. And he's not a great singer, Pastor Sean. He gets the job done. And for a while, he would just end his sermons like this. And I'm going to sing it. Who knows what the tune is, but these are the words, and that's what's important. He goes, Lord, whatever it is you're doing in this season, don't do it without me. Don't do it without me. If there are people in this world, and I believe it because I've seen it, that are out there looking for places to plant their seeds of justice, of more love, of something that looks like beloved community, that looks like care, that looks like imagination, that looks like joy, that looks like building a longer table, that looks like a commitment to becoming. I want to be ready to receive, to nurture, to support, to resource, to steward, not just because I want to say that I was there and that we did it, but out of a willingness to be transformed in service of the work. A farmer went out to sow his seeds. And what he found at last was good earth. May we be good earth. May we make good earth. May we be good earth. May we make it and be it and make it and be it. May it be so. Good morning, everybody. I'm Reverend Sarah Green, and I have the pleasure of
Thank you,
sharing
Reverend
some
Sarah.
thoughts with you this morning.
That reminder
I'd like
of
to
Good Earth. Yes. And today it might be Good Earth Sunday. If you're curious and learning more from Reverend Sarah, raise your hand if you're going to Mountain Vista right after worship to go hear more with Reverend Sarah. Me, Jan, and Greg are going. So if you want to carpool, come learn more about this future of stewardship in our churches, you could come to that. If you'd rather stay here, you're going to hear more about a rapid response training right after worship right here, how we can support our immigrant neighbors in this time. And if you'd rather go home and take a nap, come back at 5:30. Margot's not here to tell me when. 5:30, I think, the Palestine-Arizona Solidarity Alliance is showing a movie right here. We've been offering our space to them because many places will not. So we've been offering our space for them to gather, and they're going to have a movie tonight. It might be the wrong time, but 5:30-ish, I think, is the time. There's some good earth, I think, and some good seeds, and let's see what good news can grow from that. In her essay, The Service Berry, Potawatomi botanist and author Robin Wall Kimmerer, I'm sure some of you have heard her name, she lays out this vision of a gift economy. Can I get a little more noise in this mic? I think I'm a little soft. Thank you. She writes this: gratitude and reciprocity are the currency of a gift economy. They have the remarkable property of multiplying with every exchange, their energy concentrating as they pass from hand to hand, a truly renewable resource. Gratitude and reciprocity. Here's some more. She continues, to name the world as a gift is to feel one's membership in a web of reciprocity. It makes you happy and it makes you accountable. Conceiving of something as a gift changes your relationship to it in a profound way, even though the physical makeup of the thing has not changed. For example, a woolly knit hat that you purchased at the store will keep you warm regardless of its origin. But if it was hand knit by your favorite auntie, then you are in relationship to that thing in a very different way. You are responsible for it. And your gratitude has motive force in the world. You're likely to take much better care of that gift hat than the commodity hat because it is knit of relationships. This is the power of gift thinking. Go out and buy the book. It just got out there, The Service Berry. The whole thing is rich. But for this moment, in this particular moment, we're taking this inspiration of a gift economy and inviting you all to participate in a simple, small gift economy. The Baja Four, our collaborative relationship with the other 3 Unitarian Universalist congregations in southern Arizona, has its roots in the principles of a gift economy. We share what we can. We're not pay to play, as Reverend Jamili says. We attend as we are able. We engage in gratitude for being stronger together, and also reciprocity by giving and taking and giving without any tally of who's given and taken. And this morning, we are inviting you to contribute towards a gift to one of our other Baja 4 congregations. In a moment, we're going to take a collection as we do every week, but this morning, whatever goes into the offering basket or whatever you're giving online will go to one of our sibling congregations in the Baja 4. This financial gift we collect will be given without expectation, and we're not going to tell them how to spend it or what to use it for. And in return, we are going to receive a financial gift from another of our sibling congregations. They're collecting their gifts this morning just as we are, giving freely and receiving responsibly. To give, you can put cash or checks in the offering plate this morning. You can also give online at uuctucson.org/donate. If you're at home or forgot your checkbook, you can send a check to the office this week. Just put the date and offering in the memo to make sure it goes to the right place. All funds collected today's offering will be given to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist, our sibling congregation on the north side, and we here at UUCT will receive Sky Island UU's offering. We will give our gifts freely and receive them gratefully, and we are asking each of our congregations to report back at our June Pulpit Palooza, our June Pulpit Exchange, how we used the gift we were given. Your offering, your gift will now be received.
Hello, I'm Kathy McDaniel, and being Unitarian Universalist and a member of this church since the 1990s has definitely influenced and guided my life in all good ways, I think. I have learned so much from my experiences here. I have gained from every person and encounter I've had here, from every service and event. I have very much enjoyed getting to know people through committees and projects, through being part of Family Singers and the RE program and Sunday lunches a few years ago in my early years, and recently through very enjoyable auction dinners and events, like the flower arranging class that Jeannie did recently, and the genealogy class that Susan led a couple weeks ago. I have made lifelong friends here, which is truly a gift. And imagine my endless joy as my two nieces grew up through RE, and now they're in their early 30s. They're living their UU principles, faith, and values. We used to say in RE that we wanted our children to have roots and wings. And my sister says that's what she has. One daughter happily rooted here in Tucson, and the other living and leading an NGO that supports disadvantaged children and their families in faraway Cambodia. In my first years here, I shared my time and energy, and I donated what I thought was enough money, right there alongside my monetary donations to other environmental and education causes that I support and believe in. Over the years, though, I have come to understand that my annual financial donations are much more than just money. They're my promise, my reminder to myself, my pledge to this community to make sure that we can continue to be here for all. And I'm happy to report that the trajectory of my pledges went up. Of course, I am fortunate that over the years, becoming more confident in my financial situation has enabled me to do just that. And now, as I start learning UUCT's financial processes as your new treasurer, it's a steep learning curve, folks. I'm learning a whole lot more about what and how and where our money is spent. For example, I've been on the facilities committee for a few years, and I have seen firsthand how carefully and frugally the facilities committee works to solve the constant list of projects on our aging campus. Water lines breaking, electrical things and old things needing upgrading, rising costs, and on and on and on. Which is also a sideways thank you to everyone who donated to the Campus Maintenance Fund over and above your pledge, your annual pledge. It is open and receiving all year. As I learn more about the treasurer's duties, I've been impressed with the professionalism, the thoroughness, the numerous checks and balances, and the care and detail that goes into budgeting and managing our finances by the ministers and staff, by communities and committees, by leadership, and through oversight by the Finance Committee and the board. I have a lot to learn about this accounting stuff, but I'm feeling confident that the finances have a solid base and are in good hands. The only problem is the shortage of funds, and that's where we all come in. So please send in your pledge as soon as you can, and along the way, kind of boost it up a little bit, as much as you can. We will all be beneficiaries. Over the years, whether I've been active and partaking of what is offered here, and when I've needed to step back because, well, life, you know, I have been grateful that UUCT has been here and steady. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. It's going to be hard to top that. Good morning. My name is Jan Mulder. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and my portfolios are Lifespan Faith Development and Leadership Development. I want to first invite you to social hour after the service in Goddard Hall, which is out the double doors behind you and to your left. As always, there will be coffee, iced tea, lemonade, and snacks, and of course, good company. Social hour food and refreshments are free for all, and donations are appreciated to cover our costs. If you are new and want to stay in touch with us, you can fill out a guest information card in the Welcome Center in Goddard Hall, and you can also find a virtual guest information card in the newcomers section of our website. And as Reverend Bethany mentioned, there will be rapid response training after the service here in Holland Sanctuary from 12:30 to 2. Come learn more about how you can help be part of a citywide safety network for immigrants. And finally, as a follow-up to Kathy and our pledge announcement, as of this morning, we have received over $162,500 from 53 pledging units. We are so happy that nearly 80% of the people have raised their pledges by an average of 12%. Woot. Stop it. We have also received 11 new pledges. Thank you to everyone who's pledged so far. All in all, here's the big message. We are 61% toward our minimum goal and 55% toward our dream goal. A reminder that our minimum goal is actually a 10% increase in pledges from last year, and our dream goal is a 20% increase. If you haven't yet pledged, please consider joining so many of your UUCT siblings and increase your pledge today. Please remember this is your final week to pledge. You can visit the stewardship table at social hour or pledge online. There is a link on the front page of our website. Thank you.
Grateful for the microphone and how we show our love and care with thinking minds and helping hands. We'll build a place where love and hope expand.
Maybe Something Beautiful. How Art Transformed a Neighborhood, based on a true story, by Isabel Campoy and Teresa Howell. Illustrated by Rafael Lopez. In the heart of a gray city, there lived a girl who loved to doodle, draw, color, and paint. Every time she saw a blank piece of paper, Mira thought to herself, maybe. And because of this, her room was filled with color and her heart was filled with joy. On her way to school one day, Mira gave a round apple to Mr. Henry, the owner of the shop down the street. She gave a flower to Miss Lopez, the lady with the sparkling eyes. She gave a songbird to Mr. Sachs and a red heart to the policeman who walked up and down the streets. On her way home, Mira taped a glowing sun onto the wall, hiding in the shadows. Her city was less gray, but not much. The next day, Mira saw a man with a pocket full of paintbrushes. He gazed at the wall. He looked at her son. He held his fingers up in a square and peered through them. He said thoughtfully. What do you see? Mira asked. Maybe something beautiful, the man replied. Then, just like that, he dipped a brush in the paint. Bam! Pow! The shadows scurried away. The sky blue cut through the gloom. The man's laughter was like a rainbow spreading across the sky. Who are you? Mira asked. I am an artist, he said. A muralist. I paint on walls. I'm an artist too, she told him. He handed Mira a brush. Then come on. Mira dipped it in the loudest color she saw. Yow-wee, the wall lit up like sunshine. As the man drew pictures on the bricks, Mira added color, punch, and pizzazz. Soon, Mr. Sachs joined in. Then others came. Everyone painted to the rhythm, salsa, merengue, bebop. Even Mira's mama painted and danced the cha-cha-cha. The whole neighborhood became a giant block party until the policeman walked up. Excuse me, he said. The music stopped. Mira put her brush down. They were surely in trouble. The officer cleared his throat, then paused. May I paint with you? He asked. So Mira handed him a paintbrush and the music started again. Teachers and papas joined in, babies too. Mira and the man handed out brush after brush. Color spread throughout the streets. So did joy. Wherever Mira and the man went, art followed like the string of a kite. After they colored the walls, they painted utility boxes and benches. They decorated sidewalks with poetry and shine, and everyone danced. Together, they created something more beautiful than they had ever imagined. When their clothes were splattered with a million colors, everyone sat down to rest, except the muralist. His eyes sparkled. You, my friends, are all artists, he told them. The world is your canvas. He smiled wide, then pulled everything together in big, sweeping motions. His paintbrush was like a magic wand. When he was finished, Mira added one more bird way up in the sky. Maybe, she thought, just maybe.
Please respond by standing as you are able and singing When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's in the Teal Hymnal 1008 if you have that, and if not, the words will be on the screen. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place, and we share our silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy, the last line again, when our heart is in a holy place. Please be seated.
That sounded nice, didn't it? So please join me in saying our words of chalice extinguishing from Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstern. When we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying their power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world. Thank you.